It's your boy Big Baby. Support sporting icons for latest boxing news. Cheeseburger.
Now you may or may not be aware that Eddie Hearn said yesterday that in 3 weeks' time he will be making a huge announcement. Now he didn't leer into anything that it could possibly be, but based on the fact that he said 3 weeks, not 2 weeks, not 4 weeks, but 3 weeks, would suggest a few things to me. So this is a little bit like football transfer speculation, right? So let's look at the options here, and a couple of them I believe is what he's done. I believe that he signed a couple of fighters who fight on American soil, okay, and I can't see any other thing that it could possibly be. Now, it's possible it could be something along the lines of Anthony Joshua signed up to HBO, but if that was true, then there's no need to be waiting 3 weeks, right? So while that would stir the pot as such, it's probably not going to be that. Now, of course, when he did say that he's been announcing this deal, this was following on his comments that he's not very well liked in the UK, but he's hated in America. Now, of course, I've said this countless times now, that he is always going to have people with their foot against the door not wanting him in. A lot of them are promoters, managers, those kind of things, because they don't want rivals, they don't want someone going there, someone young, someone motivated to do a better job. And of course, there's a lot of channels out there as well who just don't like Eddie Hearn for a couple of reasons. Number one, he's the wrong colour, and number two, he's not their nationality. So everything that he does, he's a snake and all this kind of thing. So there'll always be resistance, even though he's going there to put on more shows. That's more weekends of boxing for them, but they're not happy about this. Go figure, right? So let's go through a couple of the names that I believe it could be. Now, I'm just going to give you some of the names and I'll break down why I believe it could be them or rule them out. So with him saying 3 weeks time, that would suggest to me that at least one of the fighters that he signed, and I do believe it's going to be a few of them, but ultimately some fighters may not be fighting within this time period, but he wants to announce them all at the same time. Okay, and maybe within this 3 week period, one of these fighters, obviously he's fighting for a promotional company right now. Okay, so he's going to have to get that fight out the way and then move on to Matchroom USA. And here's some of the names that I believe that it could possibly be. And I can't see anybody else. It could be though. I mean, it's possible I could be totally wrong on this one. Now, we do know that Eddie Hearn does like to use my words when he talks, and I know, Eddie, that they are mine. I know this for a fact because nobody else says it the way that I do. Nobody was talking about Shelley Finkel and his babying of Deontay Wilder before I was. I do it and then suddenly Eddie Hearn does it. But anyway, so these are the names that I believe Eddie Hearn could be signing, or at least one of them. So the favourites right now, for me, Gervonta Davis. He's fighting this weekend, obviously for the WBA title, and we do know that Gervonta Davis is having a bit of a trouble in paradise with Floyd Mayweather, and I actually messaged Eddie Hearn and said, if there's any kind of validity to these two not getting on, maybe it's a good idea to sign Gervonta Davis. He's a very young, exciting fighter. Now, is he still under contract going forward after this fight this weekend with Floyd Mayweather? Maybe yes, maybe no. Don't know. Maybe they don't. That's why they're having like a bit of a problem. Maybe they're having problems negotiating a contract. Maybe that's why Gervonta Davis was somewhat kicking off with Floyd Mayweather, and Floyd Mayweather was almost throwing him under the bus after that, saying, well, after this fight, he's going to be fighting Lomachenko. Maybe. Who knows? Or maybe he's still under contract and Eddie Hearn's going to have to pay some kind of transfer fee. Who knows? So Gervonta Davis could be the one, and if it does turn out to be Gervonta Davis and Eddie Hearn, when I messaged you, you didn't respond to me, you better be giving me some damn acknowledgement. In fact, even if you don't, I'm going to take full credit for it anyway, just so you know, you fat prick. Anyway, the other name that it could be, Jamal Charlo. Now, he's fighting this weekend against Hugo Santana Jr. Obviously, he's going to be the mandatory for Triple G at 160 now. He shouldn't be the mandatory, but either way, he is. And Jamal Charlo, if he was to sign with Eddie Hearn, just like Gervonta Davis, that would upset a lot of American channels out there who really hate Eddie Hearn. So that would certainly stir the pot, right? So Gervonta Davis and Jamal Charlo. For me, them two are the front runners. Also, very, very close to them could be Adrian Broner. Of course, he's having some kind of issues himself, but there again, is he too much baggage? I think he comes with too much baggage. He can't live and breathe without Floyd Mayweather next to him, it seems. But ultimately, for Adrian Broner, should he win this weekend against Jesse Vargas, that would be a bit of a coup. But even if he loses, a rebuilding process with Eddie Hearn might just be the ticket that he needs. So we'll have to wait and see. But again, it's a bit of an outsider, that is Adrian Broner, but it could be. You never know. Another one, now he's not fighting within this time period, could be Manny Pacquiao. Obviously, he's going to be fighting Lucas Matisse for the 147 WBA regular title. Now, again, there's some kind of contractual dispute between himself and top rank Bob Arum. So maybe Manny Pacquiao could be one that he's announcing. Now again, okay, so he's not American, but he does fight on American soil. He won't be fighting Matisse on American soil, but still. That would certainly stir a bit of a pot if to fight him for, or sign him up for like a 2-fight deal or something like that. So Manny Pacquiao, outside chance. Also, somebody who is fighting within this 3-week time period could be Triple G, Gennady Golovkin. But of course, he signed up with Tom Loeffler. And Eddie Hearn and Tom Loeffler have a very good working relationship. So it's unlikely that he would steal Triple G away from him. You never know. His business is business, right? So Triple G, very, very outside chance. Also an outside chance could be Vasyl Lomachenko. Again, he's with Top Rank. Okay, so it's unlikely, but of course he's taking on Jorge Linares in a couple of weeks' time. But it's unlikely that it's him, but I wouldn't put it past Eddie Hearn to pull out something like that. I really, really wouldn't. But again, unlikely, much like with Terence Crawford. Now, how upset would the American fan channels out there who really hate Eddie Hearn feel about him signing not only Jamal Charlo, but Terence Crawford? Could you imagine? That would be pretty disturbing for them. You'll probably find some of these guys will end up hanging themselves from a tree if that happened, because they love to criticise Eddie Hearn. They love to throw him under the bus as much as they possibly can, twist his words to make out that he's some kind of fork-tongued devil, right? But ultimately, if he ends up signing either Crawford, Davis, or Charlo, although they don't like Davis too much because he dared to criticise their wonder boy in Deontay Wilder, right? So I don't think they'd be too upset about Gervonta Davis, but still, if he was to sign Jamal Charlo or Terence Crawford, can you imagine the reaction? Damn, that would be unbelievable. Now, as I said, so for me, the front runners are Gervonta Davis, Jamal Charlo, and maybe Adrian Broner. For me, they're the favourites. But also, there's somebody else that we know that Eddie Hearn has been talking to. And that could be Andre Ward. Now, the reason that I say 3 weeks, obviously Tony Bellew had a fight with David Haye. He fully expects him to beat David Haye. And ultimately, he wants to set up a fight between Andre Ward and Tony Bellew. And even if Tony Bellew was to lose, and that fight won't happen, he may well pull out Andre Ward from retirement for a couple of fights. Huge money, fighting in the UK, something Andre Ward's never done before. Or even if he's still fighting in America, it doesn't really matter. Fact is, Eddie Hearn is putting his foot in the door. And again, a lot of channels will be so upset. A lot of promoters will be so upset. So Andre Ward is a pretty good favourite, I think. But not as much of a favourite as a Charlo or a Davis. But again, a lot of these will be dependent on their current contractual situation to their current promoters and managers and all that kind of thing. So we'll have to wait and see. But for me, I believe could well be Gervonta Davis. He's my pick as to who I think it could be. Maybe he's going to end the contract with Floyd Mayweather. Maybe the contract's already ended. It's unlikely it'll be Crawford because, like I said, he's got a fight with Jeff Hearn coming up, but it won't be within this 3-week period. So unlikely. But or maybe he's going to strike some kind of code deal with Bob Arum. Who knows? Who knows really? But if this news is what he's saying it is, as in massive and will pretty much shake the foundations of boxing, especially in America, I'm pretty sure that I've pulled out at least one of the names that he could well be signing or has already signed. Who knows? But he's set to announce once that they have a fight. And obviously with some other people who don't have fights penciled in, he just wants to do it all in one go. So we'll have to wait and see. But for me, Gervonta Davis is the front runner. And yes, Eddie, I do want some credit for this one. If it does happen, or it's pure coincidence, he didn't see my message. Unlikely though, right? But Andre Ward, again, good possibility. And Jamal Charlo, also a very good possibility. Manny Pacquiao, who knows what's going to happen with that one. But we'll have to wait and see. HBO, Anthony Joshua, big news, but not something that's really going to shake the foundations, I don't think. But we'll have to wait and see. So drop your thoughts below as to what you believe Eddie Hearn's huge announcement is going to be. So put those in the comment section below. Click that thumbs up while you're there. Subscribe. Catch you next video.